One of the hardest parts of ending a romantic involvement with a sociopath is accepting the fact that, to the sociopath, the relationship meant nothing. I'm Donna Andersen, author of lovefraud.com, and today I'm going to talk about how to recover when this is the case. To your so-called romantic partner, your relationship was nothing. Okay, let's get started. Here are the hard facts that you know now, which you did not know before. In the beginning, when the sociopath pursued you, showered you with attention and affection, called and texted all day long, it was nothing more than seduction. When the sociopath proclaimed undying love, declared that you were the best thing to ever happen to him or her, pushed the relationship along at warp speed while painting a glistening image of the future, it was all to hook you before you escaped. When the rough patches came and you were ready to walk away and the sociopath pleaded, cajoled, promised to change, or even threatened to commit suicide if you left, it was all to maintain control over you. The sociopath simply wasn't finished with you yet. And then, when you finally decided that there would be no more second chances, that the relationship was completely and irreparably over, the sociopath went after the money, property, and kids with a vengeance. Well, that's because the sociopath's only real goals in life are power, control, and winning. So, how do you deal with this? How do you accept that all the professions of love were lies and the promises were worthless? What's necessary is to come to terms with the fact that sociopaths are fundamentally and profoundly different from the rest of us. They are empty suits, aliens, cardboard cutouts. Use whatever analogy helps you to understand that sociopaths are missing the traits and qualities that make the rest of us human. They don't feel remorse, guilt, or shame. If they appear to show these emotions, they are acting. They do not have the ability to love. They do not truly care about anyone else's happiness and well-being. If they do things that seem to be supportive, it's because the actions further their own agenda. You will never be able to understand how they think and why they do what they do. You just need to accept that they are what they are. By this point, you're probably wondering, what was real? Here's the answer. You were real. Your love, caring, and trust were authentic. You did your part. In fact, you did far more than your part, no matter what the sociopath says. You opened your heart, which is something the sociopath never did and is incapable of doing. Unfortunately, you were deceived by someone who took advantage of your good nature and your love. You have a heart. The sociopath does not. To the sociopath, the relationship meant nothing. So, now what? You've learned the hard way that sociopaths exist. What do you do with that? How do you move forward? I've heard from love fraud readers who have escaped the sociopath, but then had difficulty allowing themselves to trust and love again. Here's the most important concept to understand. The key to finding and enjoying a good, healthy relationship always lies within yourself. If you're feeling fear about a new relationship, it means that you have more healing to do. This is totally understandable because healing takes time and attention. When it comes to our emotional lives, another word for healing is growth. We all have layers of pain and fear, so it definitely may take time to eradicate them. As you move forward, you get to the deeper issues that may still stand in the way of your own emotional fulfillment. And when you address them, you grow. So here are my suggestions for continued recovery. Whatever you've been doing that's helped you to get to where you are now, keep doing it. If you have been working with a therapist, ask him or her to continue to help you. If you've been journaling, ask yourself what you're afraid of and then write down the answers that come to your mind. If you've been processing your emotions by crying or expressing anger, keep allowing yourself to feel it and feel the fear until it is released. If you've been meditating, pay attention to the fear without judgment and let the cause come into your awareness. If you've been using EFT tapping, state the fear as the problem that you want to resolve. Emotional growth is a lifelong process, and all relationships are opportunities for growth. Sometimes there are interim steps between getting rid of the sociopath and finding a true life partner. If you've read my first book called Love Fraud, you may remember that I started dating a man named John 7 months after I left my sociopathic husband. John was a normal, affectionate, and caring man. We had a lot of fun, and I truly felt love with him. The relationship ended 10 months later. Quite frankly, the end of that relationship hurt me more than the end of my marriage. My ex-husband had betrayed me. I grieved the loss of my money, stability, and self-esteem, but I no longer loved him and was glad to be rid of him. It was different when John and I broke up. I was heartbroken. We did share a love, and it was gone. Eventually, I realized that my relationship with John was never meant to be permanent. We were both taking the initial tentative steps out of emotional disappointment. We cared for each other and supported each other for almost a year. And then it was time for both of us to move on. Even with Terry, who is now my husband, there was a time about a year into our relationship when it almost came apart. The problem wasn't our relationship, but other issues in Terry's life that made him feel like he could not continue. Sociopaths, of course, often have problems in their lives. So how do we tell the difference between a healthy person with a problem who deserves our love and support and a sociopath who will be an unending source of turmoil? Well, the difference is that when a sociopath has a problem, we'll feel manipulated, deceived, or bullied into fixing it. When a healthy person has a problem, we won't feel used when we're offering support. I knew that Terry had to face his issues. I hoped that we would be able to stay together, but there was a chance that our relationship would end. I knew that if that happened, it wasn't because I was deficient. I would be unhappy, but I would eventually pick myself up and start again. Luckily, that didn't happen. Entering a relationship is always a risk, whether or not you were previously betrayed by a sociopath, and even if the other person is relatively healthy. When you reveal the contents of your heart, there is a chance that your feelings may not be reciprocated and you'll end up with a broken heart. In short, that's life. If a relationship doesn't work out, it doesn't mean that there is something wrong with you. It may mean that you and the other person were only meant to travel together for a short time. It may also mean that the person was just a stepping stone to the real love of your life. Love is always a leap of faith. As you heal, you'll find the courage to make the leap. If you need assistance in your recovery, you'll find it at Love Fraud. We have thousands of articles, including many people telling their personal stories. You are certainly not alone. We have webinars by therapists and other experts to help you escape and recover. And I am always happy to work with you one-on-one. I can give you practical advice and help to ease your stress. Just go to lovefraud.com/talk to Donna. Even after the sociopath, full recovery is possible. Love Fraud is here to help you.